Ooh, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. It's Seth from Social Media Escape Club. I'm here with Max Pete. What's going on, Max?
Hey, just very happy to be here. I know we've been trying to schedule this for a while. I see Carly's in the chat.
Joey's
Julie,
here.
awesome.
Julie, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, we did this before. I don't know, I'll say 6 months ago, 5 months ago. I don't know.
August, I think, 2025
Yeah.
is when we did it. Yeah. And then we did one earlier in 2025 too.
Yes. This is the
So
third one. Wow.
yeah. So maybe we could keep up this 2 times a year pace. Maybe.
Yeah.
If if
Yeah.
if if people can handle it.
I mean, a lot has changed in the last time since we spoke. So
You switched jobs. You left one company for another,
yes. Yes, I've done that in December, January.
right?
I'm currently at a new company. I'm at Sprout Social, which is way bigger org than I was at Origin.
Yeah. Heard of
So it's
that.
yeah, going from 40 people to 1,500 is a big change.
Oh, wow, okay. Heck yeah. I
Um,
used
yeah.
Sprout Social, for those that don't know, is, it's like, in my limited under I think my limited understanding of it, I used it for a minute with social media scheduling and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That is still the main crux of it all. Then there's also a lot of different tools that people can use with that, of influencer management, to social intelligence. So being able to see what people are talking about you online, and how to bring that, and other popular stuff online, and how to bring that into conversation.
Yeah.
So it's a very unique time to be there. But tech is tech.
A unique time, what? You mean when companies are being found liable for creating addictive, platforms
Yeah,
and such? Pretty wild, huh?
I know, right? Who would have thought? I was just talking to my old coworker yesterday. So when I first got started, my first job out of college in 2013 was at this music marketing agency called Fame House,
Okay,
and
yeah.
so they're based in Philly. But I was working in San Francisco remote at that point. I was remote, but I was back in Philly, kind of both. And it was such a unique time because social media back then wasn't. It was a thing, but it wasn't really a thing. It was you were following people that were your friends. You were just taking random photos of stuff. You were just posting any thought that came to your head. It wasn't this curated process or anything. And we were one of the first agencies that were around to help artists to promote online. So running their whole social media campaigns, to making ads and websites and all this stuff. And we were just talking about how different and fun it used to be in that space.
Fun, yes.
And now it's just it's annoying. No one wants to be in it.
Checking boxes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
I
was,
hear you.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny though now too, I think about it, is that a lot of the people that seem to be flourishing more on social or doing better on social are kind of going back to the original point of it. And it's just more of a sharing fun and cool things, and not filtered things, and stuff that is true to you, versus coming up with this persona
Mhm.
of stuff, and trying to be an influencer and trying to monetize everything. And I just think that people are just really tired of that. And it will continue to be the trend. I hope that if you know where things are heading, that social will, it's not going to go away, but I think people are going to maybe utilize it more to how they kind of got started with it originally. And yeah, that's my hope for it.
Yeah, you say 2013, a magical time. I
Yeah.
remember 20 I can remember 20 the year of 2015 on social media was a wild, I just remember the because I went to a music festival in 2015 out in Pittsburgh. I'm on the East Coast of Pennsylvania, east side of Pennsylvania, so made the trip out to Pittsburgh, and just all that, we so many people that we met, and we got together in real life. Like that wasn't even that social the internet for me back way back in the day was you made plans on IRC chat, and then like I remember making plans at like at night. Hey, I'll meet you at the Wegmans grocery store tomorrow at 5 after work. And we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything, we didn't have internet in our pocket. And that whole plan stuck all day, and then you drove to an hour and a half to Wegmans, and you met your friend at 5, and, like, we just did that, and, like, it's funny now in 2026 to hear people talking about, like, "I'm doing this in real life stuff. I'm getting back to this," which is so pure and fun and gold because, yeah, it's what we did.
Yeah.
It's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Like it was it it's interesting because it was like I think a lot of us were naive too because
Mhm,
like we didn't know the dark side of things and so we were very open to being like oh like we'll just connect with a bunch of strangers and do this and that
mhm,
um and but I honestly think about like when I was living in California and I moved to San Diego in 2017,
mhm,
95% of my friends that I got to meet there were because I knew people on Twitter and we were like
mhm.
friends. And like we just met up for coffee and then like we
Yeah,
became like good friends. And like I feel like part of that is gone. Um Part of it is coming back and I think like I've been able to meet like awesome people online and doing that, you know, too. And like I'll continue to do that. But I feel like part of that magic is not there anymore.
mm,
Because now it's like I just feel like there's so many other motives with things. Like back then, it was just like, let's just be friends and like go to a show or do something or do this. Now it's like, oh, I want to network with you so I can like, you know, use your resources to pitch my content thing. And so it's just like a little bit different. I feel like we're all trying to be like internet personalities,
yeah.
in a way. And like, yeah, I think that my hope is that that kind of starts to shift away. And we are seeing that a little bit more. Like I'm even noticing that now and like working in the social space of like people that are working with like influencers or people that are trying to like creators are way more smaller scale than they used to be. Because people don't really care about the followers anymore.
Right.
Um, or care less of it. But yeah, so it's just like an interesting time.
Yeah, I even see some, YouTubers focusing on in real life stuff and get
Mhm.
together events kinda stuff. Um, getting getting away from like, "Oh my goodness, we have to amass this giant online audience that no one sees anyway."
Yeah.
No, let's get together. Let's 50 people get together in a room. You know, w we're so quick to complain about, "Oh, only 50 people saw my thing," or only 50 people's 50 people.
Yeah. Like even this live, right? There's 24 people watching. Like if we were in a room with 24 people right now,
That'd be
I would be
wild.
sweating.
I'd be a lot more nervous. Yeah, I'd be a lot more less casual than I am right
Yeah,
now.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which has me thinking, algorithm and audience and all that kind of stuff was like, 'cause you worked in music and
Mhm.
the live thing, the live show, I mean, so much centered around the live show. I always take it back to that of like, you practice and you do the work and you do the thing and you put out the emails and you whatever, and whoever shows up in that room that night is whoever shows up in that room. And the best thing you can do in that moment when you're on stage is give that however many people are in the room, the best show of their life.
Mhm.
Like, just rock the room. And I think so much is lost in that on the social media or the internet space of like, "Oh, there's only 24 people here." Let me tweet something. Let me we gotta get more people in here. No, we don't. Like
Yeah.
like, whoever shows up, and, like, whoever's not there is just not there. Like, it's a big, busy world. Like, people are doing stuff, and so whoever it is there in front of you, like, focus on that.
Yeah, it's such a good reminder for everything, like, online yeah, too, like, when you were just focusing on numbers versus, like, okay, ignore all that stuff for a moment, and what can we put out, or what are we focusing on, what are we doing that's, like, the original goal of whatever it is anyway. If it's our writing, like, we're still writing the same way we would write to 5 people, to 100 people. I think that was something that, like, I was, like, contemplating a lot with my one of my, like, latest pieces with, like, 1,200,
Mhm.
because I definitely got caught in that comparison cycle. I was like, "Dang, I've been writing on Substack since 2022." Now, granted, it hasn't been 100% consistent from that. Like, I started a community newsletter, I took a pause, I started to do some, like, other community posts, and then, like, I created some posts around, like, community jobs and stuff like that, and then I went into Sunday Thoughts, and so nothing has been, like, 100% consistent for those 3, 4 years,
Sure.
um, but, um, yeah, so nothing's been consistent for that long, but, you know, I look at other people who've, like, started it a year ago, and they're, like, 3 times as many as me, and I'm
Mm.
like, "What am I doing wrong?" But at the same time, I'm like, "No, this is amazing." Like, I'm growing, it's working, it might not be scaling as crazy as others, but also, like, it's at a pace where it's comfortable. People are still writing in. People are still like showing like, hey, like this is something that like I want to read and like follow and show up to. And like those are the things that are way more important than just the vanity metric of how many subscribers. Because at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't really matter. Like it matters maybe in a superficial way of being like, oh, I have this, so I'm gonna like show my authority, you know? Um, but at the end of the day, it's like, you could be creating a way more impact with a list of 50 people than you can with 5,000, depending
Mhm.
on who's actually reading and engaging and taking whatever you're writing to heart. So, yeah, that's something that's like, I need to practice more when I preach.
For
And it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Your point of, like, the 50 people on an email list that are really impactful. I was talking to a photographer recently about, they have a website, and of course, oh, who wouldn't want 1,000,000 people to look at it? Sure. Or do you want 10 potential creative directors to look at it? Do you want the people that might be able to hire you for a shoot or something like that? Like, it only takes 2 or 3 to, like, change your quarter, you know?
Yeah,
Like, this drive by, like, people that hit like and stuff like that, sure, okay, but, like, and maybe that does help bubble things up in the algorithm, but, like, whatever, like, but if still the right people aren't seeing it, like, I don't know, I think it's about intentionality too of, like, this goes
yeah,
back to our pal, Carly Valanci, like, what if instead of spending, 6 hours a week crafting the best social media content to attract all the eyeballs, what if you just emailed 6 creative directors this week? The
yeah.
intentionality behind it, the calmness behind it, the presence behind it. The presence in knowing, like, you can't invoice the people that like your photos, but you can
Mhm.
invoice a creative director that hired you for a gig, so maybe that's where the energy needs to be.
100%. Like, yeah, and that's one thing like I love what she's doing and everything with like reach out party and reach out to people. Like that was like I think when I have always struggled with being online and to just compare and scroll and compare and scroll, like I'm like, okay, like let me then channel that energy into like reaching out to someone that I've had on my list that I haven't done in a while or connect with someone because like at the end of the day, you're right. Like if I could publish a newsletter to 5,000 people and it makes zero any movement on anything I'm trying to do, or I could reach out to one person and who I want to work with, or a client, or whatever it might be, who might have seen my social, or might not, but like that part can really change like my whole path. And
Mhm.
so that's something like I always keep in the back of my head. And like I I used to do that a lot when I was freelancing. When I had my own freelance business from 2015 to like 2021, I had my own like 5 by 5 rule where I was reaching out to 5 people a day, 5 days a week. And that could be new clients, old coworkers, old friends. Like it didn't have to be a certain person. Um, but I would do seasons of that because at the end of the month, that's 100 people. At the end of the week, that's 25. And so the numbers game of that, like you're hitting people that you want to hit. And you're gonna you're gonna hear a lot of no's. You're gonna hear a lot of nothing. Like maybe no responses or seeds planted, but nothing really like growing at that point. But also like you're something's bound to come from that. I don't ever love to say guaranteed because nothing's guaranteed in life, except dying and taxes.
And taxes.
Um, but I will say like there's a high likelihood of something amazing happening in that 1 month of trying that.
Mhm,
And so, yeah, I think sometimes when we get in those mindsets of like, oh, we have to create to be seen, it's
mhm,
sometimes like, no, you don't have to create to be seen. You can just reach out to be seen. Like, yeah, if, it helps if you have a online portfolio or presence, like something that you can like fall back on to show people, so they're not like, who is this random person that I can't even find online.
mhm,
Um, but I don't think you need to have this curated scheduled posts every single day, all this sort of stuff that you need, like that was like an old template to kind of be seen by everyone.
mm.
I really think like you can channel that energy into connecting with folks, and it will have way better results that way too. So, yeah, it's a big important reminder for myself because I need this. I need the my content strategy and how I write and my inspiration behind my writing is stuff I need to hear. Like that is it. Like I write about all the stuff, all the advice I share, everything because like I actually need to remind myself of it because I fall into those same traps. And so yeah, this is like another one of those of like I actually should be doing that more instead of just like focusing on like what post can I get out today, what thing can I do today, like how do I be seen visible. And I think that's the thing that I always fall back on about wanting to spend less time online but not actually spending less time online because I get afraid that if I'm not visible I'll be forgotten, and if I'm forgotten I'm not going to have any opportunities. And so this is a good reminder of all that.
I mean, yeah, I had a down week last week. Just a gray, cloudy day in my head last week. Just wasn't on my game, whatever. And I didn't post much. I didn't write on my blog. I write on my blog usually every day. That's a thing I do, and I didn't. And I don't think I got out my 2 newsletters either. Like, it was kinda down. But then boom, all out of the sudden, out of nowhere, someone emailed me, um, a student from Stanford University in the, like, "Let's break up with social media" kinda space. I was like, "What?" I didn't post. I maybe I had, but, like, I didn't do lives or whatever, and it was just like, boom, like, stuff can still happen because if we leave behind a body of work that isn't just living on social media, I think, because like, who is usually going to other people's profiles and, like, digging through all their archive of posts and stuff? I mean, I'll do that on occasion, but actually I can't, because if I go to someone's LinkedIn and I don't have a LinkedIn account, I can't see anything they post.
Yeah.
Same with Instagram. Instagram, it works like crap on the web if you don't have an account. So, people having websites and such like that, like an archive, a portfolio, or whatever, even if it's just a one page like cover letter, or resume thing, like I don't know. I think this idea of like we need to keep throwing stuff into the river because everyone's throwing stuff into the river, and if you're not throwing stuff into the river, people are going to see other people's stuff in the river. And damn it, like a lot of people at social media companies got paid a lot of money to like remind us of that all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, of like what we were mentioning on earlier when we like started this call of like of yeah, they got proven that they created addicted services, and straight up, like, it was designed to keep you hooked in, um, and, like, yeah, I fall victim of that all the time of just being, and, like, that's the thing is I'm not on any social except Substack Notes and LinkedIn, and I know LinkedIn has its own things, and, like, I'm right there with everyone on that, but, yeah, like, it's so crazy because 'cause I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm falling trap of stuff, but I still do it, um, because I still feel like, "Oh, if I don't check in today, I'm gonna miss that thing that's gonna change this
Mm,
whatever it is, and then I'm gonna, like, not have this opportunity or not, be able to do X, Y, and Z."
yeah.
And has that ever happened? No, because I really do believe that what is meant for you will find you in one way or the other, if that's you seeing it or someone telling you about it or whatever it might be. Um, but yeah, it's just like we're addicted. Like
Mhm,
we're this straight up, it's like it's something that was created to keep us locked in and like then keep us like looking at what others are doing to be like, oh, why am I not doing that? So I'm feeling bad about myself. So I'm gonna keep checking more because I feel bad. And then it's just like the cycle.
mhm,
So that's why I love, and I know like Substack is still its own social space and all that. But one thing I do love about it, and I don't think it's gonna like last forever because no good social media has ever lasted forever because they always change and have to adapt to certain things.
yeah,
Um, is that yeah, like people like you don't really know. I think like with like LinkedIn, especially like people always lead with like what they do. Like they're always leading with like, oh, I'm a product designer. I do this. I own, like, and with Substack, like you don't really know what people are doing.
right.
Like you kind of like that people are writers and creatives and designers and whatever, but like you don't really know their whole backstory, where they worked, if they're even working at a nine
Mhm,
to five, or if they're doing this all full time, or like it's just like this more space to kind of show up and kind of like be yourself without like a tying to a title to it.
mhm,
Um, and that's something that's like super refreshing. And like I feel like two people are more off the dome with their thoughts and sharing things versus like not having it to be this polished think piece. Now again, there's a ton of that polishedness that shows up on Substack, and like it's never going to be a perfect place, but more often than not like people are just like, "Oh, like I'm just sharing my thoughts in real time." And I think that's super cool because I think like that was the original awesomeness of the internet, before it became this thing where like people had to button up stuff for whatever reason. And so I that's one thing I like about it. And like you get connected to so many different people who are just doing cool things that are like writing like you. And there's no, it's just like a fun, like that's how we got connected. Like it was just like,
yeah,
oh, like I love what you're doing. You like my writing. Like
yeah,
let's follow each other and see what we're up to. And like simple. Like I think that's like the beauty of the internet.
yeah. To use the internet as a tool and not a destination. Like, we don't have to
Yes.
live here, you know? We don't have to live. We could live on Substack. I'm tempted. I mean, Substack Notes
It's
is
addicting.
kinda good. Yeah, I mean, for all the same reasons that Twitter in 2007 was,
Yeah.
is, like, fresh and exciting and new, and that'll fade, but, like, for right now, like, and I think for a lot of people too is a lot of people we knew, a lot of people that we know today that have done and are doing great things struck at the right time on a
Mm,
Twitter or a Facebook or an Instagram at the right time when uh uh when Instagram could like point its algorithmic fire hose to your thing and it could do great. And that was great, but like it just wasn't sustainable. Like it couldn't keep making all, which is what it's Cory Doctorow's thing of like the big teddy bear at the carnival.
mhm.
That, well, wait, they did it. They got all these followers. They got all these subscribers. But now on Substack it's subscribers. Well, how do I get 5,000 subscribers? How do I get 10,000 subscribers? How do I become a bestseller? They did it. And then people are like, comparing like, well, what's their footer look like? what's their about page look like, and this and that. It's just like, oh my god, like the idea that everything is so like modular based. If I just do
Yeah.
this and my picture is this and this is, and then I'll have that without getting to the crux of who we are and our message and what we're actually talking about. Because
Yeah.
you and I both know in the music world, there are very talented artists that had a team around them or whatever, and it just didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
It just
100%.
it did meh. They did everything right. They had the right this, they had the right that, blah blah blah. They worked with this producer, meh, goes nowhere. And then you could have just some kid, with a guitar and an iPhone recording, and like it takes off because of the genuine talent or the rawness or the whatever. Like there's no like, it comes that down to that, the singular like, here's me, here's who I am, putting it out there without so many levels of polish to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, there was so many times in music and that we would work on a project. The budget would be there, the team was there, the everything was lined up perfectly, and it just didn't work. And there were so many artists that we would work with that were, like, so talented, like, incredible singers, producers, everyone, and it just never happened for them. And there were some that just, like, were like, "All right, decent." Or there was one song I remember that we were working on when I was at, this music, label, Empire, and we put out the song as a filler in between and, like, an album release just as a filler. Like, there was no like, we were like, "This is gonna do, like, whatever." It ended up being that guy's biggest song he's ever done,
Whoa.
like, platinum, like,
Yep.
and it was insane. It was
Yeah.
absolutely insane. Like, the thought process of it was just, like, simple song, recorded, fun music video, put it out, like, whatever. Spent low budget on it, and it was the biggest thing he's ever done. And so I yeah, there's just, like, timing and luck. A lot of it is luck too. A lot of it is just, like, you wrote this thing at the right time, you got fed into this thing that took off at the right time, and, like, honestly too, like, it's hard to measure that. And also, like, just because you have been doing something for a while and it hasn't been clicking or taking off in the way that you thought it would, or like you're comparing yourself to others because your writing is just as good, if not better, and you're
Oh, you got to say that again. You got a little broken up there.
okay. So I think just because like if you if you're writing on Substack, right, and you're like, hey, my writing is just as good as so and so's, but I have a third of the followers or subscribers or whatever it might be, and I don't understand like why. I think the reshifting of that should just be like, hey, like just continue to do it because at the end of the day, your next piece could be taken off. Like it could, like
Mhm.
you never know. And so I think a lot of times, like we just like will throw in a towel because we're like, oh, like we haven't done this thing in X amount of time, so we're just gonna stop doing it. And sometimes it's just like with anything else, it's just like time in the market. Like you consistently are trying to do something, and like as long as it's something that's still make creating joy and spark and something that you generally love doing, like there's no reason to really stop because you haven't hit that pinnacle part yet, because that time can and often does come. I think a lot of times we just like stop ourselves before we get there, and maybe it looks a little bit different than what we imagined it would look like. So maybe instead of like 10,000 subscribers that happens like overnight, it's like 1,000 subscribers a year, and then over time in that 10-year time, like you have that number, and then stuff starts to slowly take off from there. And so I think um sometimes we just like we'll look at something, we'll compare, we'll give up, and we'll be like, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, especially too to be into something for a year or 2. And it's like, "Oh, that's a baby time."
Yeah.
Like, that's like I mean,
Yeah.
my first music blog that I started in 2001, mean, I was young and dumb. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But like I didn't parlay that into something bigger until 2006. And that was 5 years later. Again, in that time, I didn't care. I was young, I was stupid. 5 years, who cares? I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. But it was still 5 years. And
Mhm.
a lot of stuff. I did that my metal trivia thing on Twitter for 7 years. And all the contacts and friends and stuff that I made along the way, like, was part of the foundation for what I'm doing today, all
Yeah.
these years later. So, like, maybe even that thing that you're working on, that, like, this is the thing, like, it might not be. It might just be like, this is the practice, this is the project that's gonna make that other thing so much better 5 years from now.
Mhm. Yeah, and I look at that as, like, my career path because
Yeah.
I started in music, and I thought I was gonna be doing music my whole life, like, I thought this was my thing, like, I wanted to do it since kid in middle school, and, like, I got internships, and I figured it out, and did all this stuff, and then, like, when I hit 25, um, my mom unexpectedly passed away, and it, like, changed my whole career slash, like, thinking of things, and, like, I was like, "You know what? Life is way too short. I wanna just quit and do something different." And then I started a freelance business. I had no plan, no nothing, no clients, anything. But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna figure it out. And I did that for 6 years.
Yeah.
Um, through the start of the pandemic. And then I accidentally fell into the community world, which I'm in now. And but none of that was by choice or planning. It just sort of happened. And now that I'm in the community space, I'm like, oh, this was like the missing piece of stuff that like I feel like I'm really good at that I wasn't that I never felt that in my previous careers. Like in music, I was like, I'm decent in music marketing and all this stuff, but like I'm not that great at it. In freelance website design and advertising, I'm decent. I can do stuff. I can work with clients, but I'm not really great at it. Where like community, I'm like, oh, this is like my thing.
Mm.
Um, and it's taken me 6 years to like build up into this like space where I'm at now, where it just it hasn't happened overnight. Like it's been a evolving thing since 2013, and that's like 13 years of trial,
Yeah.
and figuring things out. And like I don't think this is my last thing I'm ever going to be doing, but I feel like like this is the path that I feel like, okay, like now this stuff is starting to click and make sense. Where like it wasn't clicking and making sense 5 or 6 years ago. I felt like I was really hitting a wall. Um, when I originally freelanced full time for a different side of the business because I was just like, I'm not great at this. Like I can't compete with other people that are doing this sort of stuff because I just like don't have those skills.
Mm.
Where now I'm like, oh, if I did go back to like running my own consulting business and community, I feel like I have those skills. I feel like I have that passion and I feel like I have that network. And so um, those are all the things I'm like, oh, this stuff is starting to click a little bit more.
Yeah, that it sounds to me like alignment,
Yeah.
right? Like the things that we learned along the way and we kind of forced them into like whatever thing we were doing at the time. Eh. And when stuff aligns, I don't know about you, but like for me, like I like doing and getting into the stuff that feels effortless, that
Hmm.
feels free. And like when I started doing weekly Zoom calls for Social Media Escape Club, I was like, because I just wanted to talk to people about leaving social media. I was like, well, I guess I just got to do a Zoom call, and it was just like, I wasn't really Mr. like, let's hop on a Zoom, especially
Yeah.
a group. But I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to talk about it. And now I've been doing them 3 times a week now for like 3 years. And I love it. They're energizing. These lives I've discovered are like, let's go. Like, like after this, I'm going to like run out the door and be like, yes, this is so cool. Like the alignment part of it. And like, how the business and the money and all that stuff lines up with that. Like, sure, that's always a challenge. I mean, we'll get to making $40,000 a month in a minute,
Yeah.
but, like, I don't know, man. I think the alignment stuff when you are acting or when you're just flowing and working in a place that's just like, where it's light, Like, I think that's where the stuff starts to really reveal itself. Like, even if you
Yeah.
don't, again, even if you don't know how it's going to pay the bills tomorrow, oh no, there's something to this.
Yeah, 100%. Like I definitely think that there is such a special feeling of like when you're like, oh, like this is like what I want to be doing and what like and like what drives me and energizes me and like opportunities present themselves when you have that. And I've always said this too of like, opportunities present themselves when you're ready.
Mm,
So whenever you are doubting yourself of like, oh, this thing came my way, I don't know if I could do it, it wouldn't have shown to you if you weren't ready for it.
hmm
Um, and also you need to like make space for those things too. So the universe, and I fall victim of this all the time. And this is a little woo woo, so I'm sorry if
Oh, bring it,
folks
bring it.
don't agree. But I also really think like the universe like throws tests at you to like make sure that you are following the path that you want to follow, or if you're going back into your old way of thinking and habits. And so like you could be like, all right, I'm quitting my job and I'm becoming a freelance consultant, and then you could get an inquiry tomorrow for a project that you're like, oh, like actually, I don't know if I want to do this project because it doesn't really align with the things I'm trying to do, but it's money and I could do it and all these things. But like you're getting a lot of red flags. Like I think to me, like that's a test. Like yes, you could do it. It fills the gap of certain needs that you need now, but it's also taking up space for future opportunities that are going to come your way. And so I think that it's really hard and challenging to be like, and you have to really trust in the process of like, oh, like I'm actually going to turn this thing down because it's just not aligned with the things I'm trying to do. Knowing that like, hey, like something else will come your way.
hmm
It could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, like whenever. But just knowing that like you have to have that space for those things to happen too. And if your space is constantly filled with stuff you hate doing, then of course there's going to be no room for new stuff coming your way because you just don't have the time for it.
Yep.
And yeah, again, it's way easier said than done. It's something that I have not even been close to perfecting myself. But yeah, it's constantly like it's a constant reminder, and like everything I've done and everything that's happened in my work life so far has been has worked out, and I think it's worked out because the opportunities have aligned when they were supposed to, and it was nothing was ever felt forced, and that's something that like I need to remind myself of a lot. If it's just like one, not forcing things, and then two, of just knowing that like, hey, like something will happen, and it might not be the way you thought it was going to happen, but it will, and you just need to like continue with the vision that you have. Um, but again, this is all me speaking. The fact that like I'm personally like in this crossroads too of like, oh man, like I really miss doing stuff on my own. I really miss like running my own business uh in a way that like I can like really zone into the work that I want to do and the impact and the people I want to work with. But I'm scared because I have I guess a stable job. I have benefits. I have things that like are more predictable. And so
It's a wild world right now.
it's a wild world. And so even someone that like knows and is self-aware of all this stuff, like it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm making the progress I want to be making, but that's okay too, because I still agree that with myself of like in due time when it's meant to be, the stuff will happen. And yeah.
The making space thing is huge for me. Over the years, I had some lean years, 2014, 15, 16, 17. Um, so I would just take whatever work I could get, and I needed to fill up my day with that work. I just needed money. And a lot of that work has fallen off. I was doing transcription work. I was like transcribing hours of like interviews for musicians and stuff like that, like interviews for outlets and stuff. The worst work. But I was like, I needed the money. And then finally, when I got like, and was able to push that, start saying no to that transcription work that sure might have paid me $250 that month. It was like, no, I got to find another way to make $250. Like, and I could push that aside. And now I found too, and like still a lot of the remnants of that work that I picked up all those years ago, um, 2 Novembers ago, heading into the holidays, a client let me go for this particular freelance work I was doing. It was like working with a publicist. Gotta let you go. And I hated the work. And like I didn't know how I was gonna make up that retainer money. Who doesn't like a retainer client
Yeah.
for a grand a month, whatever, doing whatever, and no one bothered me? But that disappeared. And like I didn't have a way to make up that $1,000 right away, but like it was like, oh, it'll work out. Like, because I know I hated doing that. Like this when they told me, they called me. I was at a Starbucks. Hey man, I gotta let you go. I was just like, I was, oh yeah,
Yeah.
man, I get it. I get it. I was so glad I didn't have to do that work anymore. I had another client earlier this year, December actually. They started taking over something that I was doing for them. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this now. Great, you take it, all yours. Financially, not great. That was the universe. Like for me, I what you're talking about of like, oh, I'm gonna make the leap and I'm gonna jump out. For me, it was the universe being like, no, we're gonna take this away now. Like you got to figure it out. Like and it's like sink or swim kind of a thing. And in both of those instances, it was just like, oh great, now that's off my plate. I've like one last client like that right now, where it's just like I don't like doing the work, but it's like, but by having that off your plate, like it opens up so much more. Like I said, I want to do more Zoom calls and stuff like that. Like, great, now I got time to be present and do stuff like this. Like I love doing this. Like heck yeah, like yeah, but Seth, is that the financial answer? Is that I don't care, man. It flows. It's good. It's light right now. So I'm gonna keep riding this.
Yeah, and, like, to that point, like, yeah, maybe it's not a opportunity that is being, like, that immediately replaces that income, but through these things, whoever's listening, watching in their orbit now, like, can
Mhm.
pull something, and it's just like, you just never know, and because you haven't done this, because you're taking time to do something else, like, that new opportunity would have never come your way, and so,
Yep.
yeah, I love that, and, like, yeah, I agree, like, the living in an abundance mindset. And I think another reason why it's sometimes good to unplug from social is that it's very easy to fall into the echo chamber of whoever you're online following or orbit you're with. It's like either doom and gloom, right? Like you go on LinkedIn and you just see post after post of like layoff, people struggling, post, layoff. And it's like, while I'm not trying to take anything away from that specific pain and like what people are going through, I think that there's equally amount of good that's happening, but it's not being broadcasted. It's not being
Mm.
shared. It's not being shown because like fear and everything else drives people back in to check in. That's why the news shows stuff that's scary because you want to check more. If it was just
Yeah.
going to show you good stuff, you'd be like, oh, the world's good. Like, why do I need to check the news? Like, things are good. Same with social. Like,
Yeah.
you're if everything was good, everyone's doing great, jobs are being created, people are finding opportunities, like there's no reason to really go back
Yep.
and check stuff because you're just like, all right, cool, like things are good. Um, but when the fear is driving everything, when the fear is driving decisions, when the fear is driving your just vision of stuff, like that's where stuff can get really cloudy and you're making choices that aren't really best for you, but you're acting out of the scarcity mindset. And I think that's where it's like, okay, like I'm trying to get better at now of like, am I doing this thing because I feel like it's going to be great and like it's an abundant thing and I want to do it? Or am I doing it because I'm scared that I'm going to be forgotten or whatever XYZ thing that pops up in my head? Um, and if it is leaning towards that side, I try to like really get myself not to do it. So if that's like, I've been really getting a lot better now at like not getting on free calls to like pick my brain.
Mhm.
where I used to just be like, oh yeah, like I'll help you with this, I'll do that, I'll get on a call, like I'll do this for you, I'll try this, and like now I'm just like, unless it's like a really good friend who I'm close with or someone I've been chatting with a while that we're working through something, then yes. But like if it's just someone that's like trying to get my advice on something like that is really like a bigger ask for me, like I'm gonna be like, hey, like this is what I charge and I have to not feel guilty for it. Because
Nice.
at the end of the day, like time is limited and I want to be helpful. I want to do the things to like give back as much as I can. But I also need to know that like, hey, like I spent years perfecting my craft on this thing and like I should charge my worth for it. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm not practicing what I'm preaching and I'm burning myself out more and like and I'm not creating the space for those opportunities that will come my way that I can charge money for because I'm filling up my calendar with a bunch of these free calls. Um
Yeah.
and so yeah.
You talked about that in your chat with Julie about adding friction,
Hmm.
right? To how easy it is to contact you or how deep you can go on stuff, right? The an element of friction of like, because you got to slow that down. Because I don't know about you, but yeah, I love helping people. I want to help people
Hmm.
so much. Like, I want to see everybody have their own website and get off social media. But like, if it goes too far, like, yeah, I did that. I burnt out. I started my email guidance thing last year. I massively undercharged for it, and I was like, the first one's free, and like, oh my god, I was like doing all this free work all last year, and like some of it convert. It was twofold. It was like, let me just charge it low. Let me figure out how this works. And then it was just like after about a year, it was like, yo, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
I I can't give the freebie. I can't like I gotta charge more. Am I seeing less of that? Yes, but fine. Anyone that does sign up for it, it's a higher price now. Like makes it worth it. So
Yeah.
raise those
Huh.
rates. When people ask you, "Hey, can we get on a call?" There's like you, there's like, "Well, am I close? Have we talked over the years? This and that." But if it's someone out of the blue, it's like, "Here's my booking page with a Stripe link
Yeah.
to it." Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like, we need to eat too. And like we want to be helpful, but like if we can't support ourselves, then like we can't support others and we can't help others. So it's like we need to like remember that part too. And like that's been my biggest lesson I'm trying to relearn on social and everything and how I show up and how I help people and like um and just being like I still want to be that helpful guy. I still want to be that person that like people like, oh Max, like he can help me with this. He can do this. He can, but like at the same time, I'm really trying to be better at like, I can do this, but it doesn't mean I should do this. And it doesn't mean like I need to do this. And so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just like I am protecting my space more and really just being like, hey, like, I can't give it my all on everything. Otherwise, I have nothing for myself. And so
Mhm.
that it's just is what it is. And like, that's okay. And and getting out of my like people pleaser tendencies of just being like, I need to make sure I'm doing everything for everyone because they need to like me and I need to,
Yeah.
so they'll think about me in a future opportunity. But guess what? Like sometimes those future opportunities never come. And so if there's an opportunity here that you can like charge for what you're doing, like do it. So yeah.
Yeah. I the part of that too for me is the availability. Like social media makes it really big to be available. You got to be
Hmm.
engaging, because it's not enough to just post. Now people are replying. So now you got to reply to the people that replied. Then all of a sudden people are in your DMs. I talked to a client who does a podcast, and it was a deep subject for it was a close knit community that was built out of it, and they found that like, and they told me they were like, oh, I'm so burnt out on doing this podcast, and we got into it, and it was like, yeah, because I publish an episode, and then I'm in on Instagram DMs all night, like all night. And like, staying up until I think they mentioned like midnight or so. I think, or maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But you can see how that could happen. You do something that has impact. People are DMing you, pouring their heart out. You're replying. Like again, there's only that that helps that person in that moment. But like the sustainability of that is like
Yeah.
it's
It's
so easy to fall into.
100%. And like that's my biggest one of my biggest struggles with creating content and posting is that like I'm the type of person that needs and wants to reply to everything. Like, I don't know. I think so I can make sure everyone feels heard and validated and everything. And like maybe it's an ego thing for me too, like to be like, oh, if I can reply back to like 20 comments or whatever. Um, but also it takes so much time and then the messages and then everything else. And so it's like by the time that you have worked this one piece of content to just share, it ends up becoming this like massive thing that's exhausting because it's like all the extra stuff that goes along with it. And
Mhm.
so really trying to like I used to look at people who were bigger and posting a lot and they weren't like replying to everything. And I'm like, oh, like why aren't they like replying to comments? But now like
Mhm.
I've had some posts that like have gone a lot of engagement on and like I'm like, oh, this is why. Because it is exhausting and it's not sustainable. And like you don't owe anyone your time. That's the thing is you do not owe anyone your time. Like even like people will reach out, they'll ask stuff of you, they'll share stuff and like that's all great. But like and if you have the space and capability and want and need to like help them, amazing. But like you don't owe them that.
Mhm.
And it's hard to like pull that to reminder yourself and that guilt of yourself being like, oh, like someone really resonated with my work and they shared this. So I need to like make the space to like reply back to them and give this thoughtful response. And like, yeah, like it's nice to do that, but at the end of the day, like if that person is going to then not like you anymore because you don't respond to that moment in time, then like, okay, maybe it wasn't meant to be for that. And like,
Mhm.
that's okay. And yeah, you just don't need to like, you can set your boundaries of like, oh, I'll reply to comments for an hour a day at this time. And like, whatever gets posted, whatever doesn't. And that's okay.
Mhm.
Cause you're not going to, you can get to inbox zero, but you can't get to comment zero. Like, the
Now,
comments will keep going. Yeah.
yeah, they keep coming and the DMs keep coming. I know when Substack released that, it was like, "Oh, DMs now." It was like, "Oh my goodness, one more thing to check." One thing I found helpful in that world is if you can't reply to everybody all the time, is to just acknowledge some of the themes
Mhm.
of replies. Like maybe this is helpful for someone, but like skim the replies or the emails you get, but like acknowledge it maybe in a future post. Hey, a whole bunch of people like, that last post really resonated. Thank you so much for your comments. I can't get to everything all the time. It was really great to see how everybody, et cetera, et cetera. To not just simply or however you want to do it. But for me, it's
Yeah.
like, wow, it I would acknowledge it somewhere like that or on a Zoom call or something like that rather than um because I think in the community sense of things, like I see it a lot like on Substack is like, oh, I want to create a community. I want to create a community without ever acknowledging or speaking of their community.
Mhm.
Community isn't just a number of people like in a platform. It's the conversations that are happening, it's the things that are bubbling up, it's the things that people are doing around and in your work, I think that is the community.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people look at an audience and they're like, "That's my community." But if that's just geared towards you as a person, like that's your audience. Like that's the people you're
Mhm,
talking to. But that's not people that like are actually like connecting with one another outside of whatever you're putting out there. But if you're building something on side of that, being like, hey, like for you, for example, like social media escape club, like, yes, that's like your thing, but then people are connecting with one another in that space. And that is community where if that means like if you're showing up or not, people are still there connecting, chatting, having those relationships. And so I think that's like a really big misconception of like what a lot of people think a community is of just being like, oh, like it's the amount of people that follow me. And I'm like, that's not it. Yeah, like what Caitlin said, like that's a cult and like you're the leader. Exactly. Like if you disappear, that place disappears too. Where a community is like if you disappear, the community's still there.
mhm,
The people are gonna rally around. They're still gonna have those relationships, those whatever it is. And so I think like that's a big thing to remember too. And like, it's separating the ego a bit, right? Of being like, oh, like all these people are here to follow me and to listen to what I have to say. But it's like, no, like how can I bring these people together so they can meet one another and create those relationships? Because to me, one of the coolest things about having an audience for people that follow me or I'm connected with or whatever is like bridging the gap between so and so and someone else. Being
Mhm.
like, oh, someone's looking for someone. I know that person. I can connect them together. Like that is the coolest thing. And I think one like the best parts about like just networking and being connected to people versus being like you have to follow me for all this sort of stuff. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, a big thing I learned that from too, was, Cato on maybe they're on this call, but was always talking about know what your friends are all working on, because then when it comes up, you could be like, "Oh, connect the people," and that is so powerful. It's so powerful to just, like, hype up other people, to talk about other
Hmm.
people when they're not in the room, to connect them with people, to think about other people. Um, it's the connection. It's the which and the trust then that you build with that, like, it's so
Hmm.
huge, like, to put good people in touch with one another.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to end on.
I think so, yeah. Less about hyping and always pushing out you, and because together, we do this stuff together. Like,
Yeah,
social media wants to isolate us, but,
yeah,
we're bringing this all together with other people, so
100%.
cool. Max Pete, everyone. Yeah, give some hearts here in the chat. Thanks for everybody sticking around and hanging out. There's been a vibrant chat here. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, definitely has, brightened my day, and I'm
Yeah,
just now, like, have a lot of, like, energy, and I love this sort of stuff, so thank you for having me. Thank you for anyone who's listening and watching, and, yeah, I'm excited to do more of these too.
cool, cool. Yeah, we didn't even get to it. Max wants to do more live speaking, so someone in the chat get in touch with Max and have him speak at your
Yeah,
next event or something like that. That's for
I
next
would
time.
love that.
That's for
Yes.
our next conversation, at the end of the summer, maybe after you give a couple
Awesome.
talks at some big event.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, yeah, awesome.
all from this. All right. So good. Max, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Such a good time. We'll see you around on the internet.
Cool.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.